Hi all, today we're going to be talking about the M13B, one of the most underrated rifles, in my opinion, in Modern Warfare 2, and a fairly good option for ranked play if you don't want to stick to the meta TAQ-56 or the Hemlock. The M13B is really nice. It feels good to shoot, it feels reliable, it doesn't feel like it lets you down that much, especially given it was just buffed fairly recently in the season changes. It is a nice rifle. Unfortunately, the way to unlock it is fairly annoying, given it must be done through DMZ, but if you have a friend who can drop it for you, you can get it very easily. It takes about 10 minutes as long as you have somebody who can drop the M13 for you, and then you can use it yourself. It's a really nice rifle, and it's comfortable to use. So, in my humble opinion, there are a couple different builds for it, but there's one dominant build that I've been running for ranked play that I find most comfortable to use. And that is a weird mix of a recoil and aim down sights build. Basically, you lean towards recoil attachments, you take the heavier stock, you take the long barrel, you take a comp, you take an underbarrel, you take your Edge 47 of course, and you take your D37 recoil grip. But your tuning generally across the board is favored towards aiming down sights, where applicable, otherwise you generally tune for recoil control. It's a nice weapon, it feels good to use, it feels like as long as you're headshotting, it feels like you drop targets fairly quickly, and it's fairly effective over range, which is nice to hold in long angles for ranked. It's a comfortable rifle, and it's fairly easy to grind. The camo challenges on it are fairly easy, all things considered, because it basically just boils down to get kills either in a group, right next to somebody on shipment, or when you're standing behind someone on shoot house. It's a pretty easy rifle to do, all things considered, for its camo challenges, and while I have not started my long shot kills on it yet, its long damage ranges really helps it perform well in the mid-ranges, where that long shot area is greatly appreciated. It's a really nice, comfortable rifle to use. And honestly, if you don't want to, like I said, if you don't want to go with the meta options, I think it's a great pick. It's comfortable to use. So, jumping into a live match, as we do things around here, we are going to jump into a live game, because that's the way I do things. And I'll be using the M13, and you'll get to see what it's like for a fairly average player in an average game. We are quick play filtered for domination and for hardpoint, and, well, hopefully the queue doesn't take too long, or else that would be really unfortunate, given I'm shooting this entire video live. But you know what, it is what it is. Out of the assault rifles I've used so far, the M13 is easily my favorite. It is just, it's just a nice rifle. It feels comfortable to use no matter what you throw it at. Hardpoint on Farm 18. Okay, pretty good map for this. I'm going to preemptively mute the lobby because I do not want any yikes things to happen and have to reshoot this. The M13 as a weapon, if you're using it in ranked, I'd probably pair it with the combat knife, as you just get more mobility that way. But if you're using it in more casual modes where you can actually take a secondary, either overkill a good close range weapon into it, or if you're going to take a pistol, take your preference, it doesn't really matter. Of course, take your tactical and lethal of choice, and for perks, take your perks of choice. It largely depends on how you want to run your character, but the M13 is nice and versatile and will generally work no matter what loadout you throw it into. Of course, it's going to have problems. It unfortunately is a little outclassed on damage output in close ranges, and, I mean, unless you're good at headshotting, you do generally get outgunned by things like the TAQ and the Hemlock. But if you have the mechanical aim, it is a nice, fairly competitive substitute for those weapons. And it's comfy. It's really comfy to use, and it feels good to shoot. And in my opinion, the feel of a weapon does matter quite a lot when it comes to how you like a weapon. So, hardpoint, Farm 18, live game, we'll see what happens. Hopefully it goes fairly well. Hopefully I don't make an ass out of myself on camera, given I've not played Modern Warfare in a little bit. But you know what, we do what we can. So the M13, as I've been saying, is just a nice all-rounder weapon. As long as you're headshotting, it feels good in the mid-ranges and in the close ranges. And its damage output is a little on the low end, but still enough to be competitive, especially compared to some other automatics. Unfortunately, like I said, you do lose. You won't always win everything, and people with better aim than you will generally still outskill you, no matter what you bring. It's unfortunate, but it is a reality of the fact that the M13 is not quite competing damage-wise with some of the other weapons in the class. But it's still very comfortable to use. With the right build, such as the one I'm running, it doesn't really kick that much, and that makes it feel nice. And it also makes it fairly easy to headshot with if you need to work on this. And the camo challenges, as I mentioned, are easy. It's just a really nice gun. I like it a lot. It was my favorite gold. It's setting out to be just my favorite assault rifle in general. It's my first choice for ranked in all matches because of how versatile it is, and the fact that I just don't like the TAQ. So, it's a great gun. It's a great gun. I wouldn't say you need to be in a rush to unlock it, because ultimately the TAQ will generally outperform it for most players, but it's still fun to use. It's fun to use. It's a nice rifle. And unfortunately, because it is just a nice, well-rounded rifle, I don't actually have a whole lot to complain about it. And in that regard, I'm kind of out of things to say. So now this is basically just turning into, here's a match with the M13. This is about what you can expect from this gun for an average player in an average match. I'm not very good. There's no editing here, there's no tricks. This is exactly as you see the match. Whatever happens, happens. So, should help you gauge how much you will actually enjoy this weapon. I would also note, even if you're going for a different build than what I run, I would not throw a larger magazine in it. The M13 rarely needs more than 30 rounds to down a target unless you're fighting at really silly ranges, in which case, the M13 simply is not the rifle to bring. You'll want to use it generally in the closer to mid-ranges. At the longer ranges, bring a different option. You don't want to force this gun out long because its damage does tend to fall off pretty steeply once you start reaching out. And when that happens, even with the longer barrel, assuming you're not getting vaporized by a KD broadside, it just doesn't hold up to most other options. It gets outperformed at long ranges quite easily. Even with headshots, it'll still get outperformed. But luckily, most maps in this game, if you are playing core, do not have this problem. And as such, you will generally be safe to run this gun in most situations. Will you please get down from there? Thank you. And that's a nade. That's quite bad. I'm gonna preemptively fire that door, get a little lucky. Can you see why I like this gun? It's comfy. It's just comfy. It's nice to use. Get that counter UAV out of here, please. It's not very good at shooting down score streaks, by the way. Oh no, I've run out of the map. Oh, no. Okay, that could have been bad. Yeah, it's not very good at shooting down score streaks. If you see a VTOL come up or a chopper gunner and you really want it down, you're still better off bringing a RAL. Or your LMG of choice. It'll work just about as well as any other assault rifle, plus or minus, depending on what ammunition type you're running. But it's not really going to shine compared to anything else, and I would generally not rely on it for bringing down anything larger than a counter UAV. It just doesn't put out enough damage. This guy's really just going to prevent me from taking my care package, and that's supremely unfortunate. Have a drill charge. Please go away. You're not going to try to steal my package? Why don't they steal my... Okay. Most interesting. Oh, you're trying to steal my package, though. And you're just being annoying. Okay. Pull the bolt. Shit. So, I've not done a Modern Warfare video in a while, and I generally haven't done a lot of them. Please let me know your thoughts on this if you're a regular viewer, or hell, if you're new, if you just would like to see more. It's greatly appreciated for anyone who comments. If not, that's okay. But it's not what I usually do, but I like Modern Warfare and I want to cover a lot more of it, so please let me know if you're interested. Anyway, we'll push up into the site. Pretty unfavorable location to push from, but I can... Damn, I thought it'd be harder to the left. I didn't think it'd be towards the right. It's a misplay on my part. Oops. I plead oopsie daisy. I must say, the M13's actually performing better than I'd expected. I wasn't expecting to have actually a fairly decent game. Maybe skill-based matchmaking has just given me a good match conveniently for this video. I promise I don't intentionally sandbag my skill-based. I promise, I'm just getting lucky. Skill-based is being nice to me. Is this what we call it? Streamer RNG? Still, fairly long game. The only problem with doing these live is these reviews end up being quite long, thanks to the nature of, well, shooting the whole thing in one go and not editing any of it. It'll probably be quite a bit longer than most other reviews, but this way you get to see what the gun is like, so sue me. It's definitely not just because I'm lazy and don't want to learn to edit. This way you get to see the gun live. Please go down, Chopper. I don't like you. We took the trade. Whatever. I might have blown up, but at least the Choppers goes down. And it nearly kills me. Interesting. I think I should have died there. I'm pretty sure that landed right in front of me. Ow. And I get vaporized by the KV again. Good. Good. Fun shotgun. Okay, so my target's gonna be marked left. That's a nade. I am moving. I do not want to get vaporized. Hello there. Ow. Yeah. Shotguns blast you out of the range at close quarters. Like, anyone with a decent submachine gun or a shotgun, or even some of the faster killing ARs like the Chimera, will generally just blow you out of the water in the closer ranges. It's not really a problem with the M13, rather a fact that it's just not super well suited for super close ranges. We'll have a good slurp of the NC juice, and hopefully that should let us tank this point hold no matter what happens, or we get shot in the back. Most unfortunate. I should not have been watching the same direction as a teammate, but we do what we can. And vaporized once again. Extremely unfortunate. Not exactly a great point hold for this M13. It's a bit too close range to truly make use of this weapon's strength and versatility in the mid-range, but you know what? That's how hardpoint goes. You can't have them all. That's why I'd actually generally call the weapon better in ranked play than in standard, because the ranked maps and modes generally favor the M13's strengths more than its weaknesses. And as much as I enjoy core, sometimes you just don't get good core maps or modes, unless you're specifically filtering for them, that really benefit the M13 and allow it to shine. Or you just get outplayed by shotguns. This weapon does shine a lot better when shotguns are banned. So, that's how it is. But it works great. I'm pretty much just repeating myself now because it's a great gun. I like it. I like it a lot. I think the footage speaks for itself. I'm not the best player, but as long as you are decent, and as long as you kind of can make it work, you know how to make it work, it should treat you just as well as most other assault rifles. I mean, it's sure better than the M16, that's for damn sure. Not that that's much of a feat, but hey, it's still better than the M16. It's a lot better than the M16, in fact. I mean, to be fair, what isn't? But, you know. Go up onto the roof, see if we can't get a more favorable overwatch view up here. Preemptively drill charge the point, just in case anyone's trying to set up shop in there. They are not. Take a big sip of the NC juice. See if anyone's gonna try and take this point. Doesn't look like they will, but we will sit here finally. Drill charge is bad. Shotgunner's just as bad. Yeah, you lose. You don't have good performance in close ranges. Ow. My chest. Ow. My back. Pain. We are losing this match. That's unfortunate. Put some shots in his head. Move on. Drill charge objective. Looks like they've changed, so I just wasted a charge. Unfortunate. You're on the roof. I'll take you down. We'll push the corner, and we're getting shot at from somewhere. I'm not smart enough to realize where, so I'm just gonna move. It's not my problem. Don't be afraid to back away from engagements that the M13 can't take. It's not always the best weapon. Close gaps, but don't close them too far. You don't want to be too close, and you don't want to be too far. It's definitely got that sweet spot of between probably 20 and 50 meters, give or take, where it feels like it just outshines other options, but not always. Not always. Weapons more specialized will beat you in both the close ranges and mid ranges, and of course, meta weapons like the TAQ and the Hemlock will generally just outperform it at all times. It feels competitive enough to stay with those weapons, but it doesn't feel competitive enough to surpass those weapons. So if you're purely just looking for the most meta option available, you can probably skip the M13. But if you want something that's a little different while still remaining solid enough to stay relevant, it's a nice little pick. Alright, they're 4 points away, and knowing random teammates, we are most likely not going to be able to resecure this. So instead I will pick up a kill. We will pick up a drill charge, because drill charge kills are always particularly amusing. He lives them, that's sad. Push out, please die, thank you. I think that's my first kill streak of the game, that's kind of sad. Can you tell I'm not that good? And that's the end of the match. Alright, now it's just time for the little recap at the end, like usual. Once I can get back into the menu. I'm really surprised he tanked that drill charge. I guess he's got bomb squad. It just surprised me. I figured he would, you know, explode from the drill charge landing next to him, but oh well. Unfortunate, as they say. Yes, yes, battle pass, whatever. So, in recap, the M13 is a very, very nice rifle. It's unfortunately not competitive enough to surpass options like the TAQ and the Hemlock, but it still feels reasonably competitive with them, and it only really lacks out in the extreme long ranges and the extreme close ranges. And that's kind of mid-range area is really where it shines, especially with the build that somewhat favors both recoil and aim down sight speed, because then it will just be able to outperform anything with good recoil control and reasonable time to kill. It feels comfortable to use, it feels fun to use, it's relatively easy to unlock and level as it's not super dependent on attachments to stay competitive, and in general it's a nice weapon. It feels fun to use. Thank you all, and I will see you all another time. Bye.